Hi, Sander. Welcome to this talk. Over the past year or so, we've gotten in touch, and we've been working together. And I really like what you do. You make great stuff, and today I wanted to talk with you on how we work together, what we do, how we found each other, what some challenges are we were able to solve for you, and also just the things you make, what drives you. So I just wanted to start with a question, who are you? How did you start? What sort of business do you run? Why do you run your own business?
Sure.
Just tell me a bit.
Small introduction. All right.
Yes.
My name is Sander van Horen. I own a business called Logo for Life. And what we mostly do is we build websites and web shops. And we also do some graphics design, hence the name Logo for Life. So the name was thought of years ago, about 12 years ago, when we mostly did graphics design. Now most of what we do now is web shops and websites and some custom web apps. That's what we do. We have clients in all sorts of branches and all over the Netherlands, some foreign customers too. At a certain point, we were facing the issue of finding the right talent and, especially finding the right developer. And that's when we came in touch, and you proposed a solution.
Yes. Yeah. So, how we got in touch was quite interesting because I live quite nearby, and I think for 6 months straight, I saw advertising, after advertising that you were looking for a developer. First, what made it so specific? What you were looking in a developer that you found hard to find?
Well, we are a relatively small business, which means we have a relatively small business budget for a developer. We're not in any city center or anything. So we're not in Amsterdam. We're not in Rotterdam. So we found it hard to find a developer at all, let alone a developer that met our standards or at least had the qualities that we were looking for. So we tried different things, but like you said, you saw our ad for about 6 months, 6 months straight. So we targeted that specifically on developers and people who lived in a radius of about 50 kilometers or something. Because, like I said, we're not in the city center, so you're not going to travel a very long distance just to be here. So we thought, okay, let's target it relatively specifically on an area and on certain qualities. Well, you personally fitted in that profile, so you saw the ad a lot, but we simply didn't get the response we were looking for.
Interesting. Yeah. So that was the conclusion I also saw. So we reached out. Now what resonated with you in basically, there's more companies who sort of do what we do, but what resonated in our first conversations, would you say?
Well, honestly, I hadn't even considered working with a remote team at that point. We tried some other things. So we tried hiring straight out of school. So we had one developer here, absolutely a junior. That didn't work out. We tried a traineeship. So someone who had some experience with coding, but not a lot. And we thought maybe we can train them. But that was a bit naive because we noticed we simply don't have the time to really train somebody properly. So when you propose a solution, so let's find someone abroad for you. We have worked with freelancers abroad in the past, but I never really thought about hiring someone full time. So to be honest, it was interesting that you proposed that. And I thought, why not? We tried everything so far, so why not try this too?
Yeah. So to zoom into that, and I believe if I remember correctly, but in our first conversation, there's some bad stigma with remote, or people from abroad, and obviously that's something we solved to a certain degree. So we immediately, I believe our first conversation, we immediately highlighted your previous experience also hiring freelancers
Yeah.
Outside of the country. So what were some of those concerns? What was your current experience with those freelancers? Things you basically highlighted to us.
Yeah. There were several issues. The quality of code was definitely a thing. We tried several freelancers. There are several platforms like Upwork, etc., where we found them, and we tried developers in India. We worked with developers in the Ukraine for a little while. The quality of the work varied greatly. So one project seemed okay, and the next project was horrible. But I think maybe the biggest thing was not being able to depend on them. And that meant they promised things they couldn't deliver, or simply time-wise, that something would be done next week, and it takes 3 weeks. So that was also, and especially we promise our clients something, and we have to come back on our promise because the person we hired to do it isn't doing what they said they would do. So that was really becoming a problem at a certain point. And finally, the communication. We had a few freelancers. We mostly had that problem with India. We had to talk 2 or 3 hours, and when I say talk, I mean type, because getting on the phone with some of them really wasn't helpful because of the English and etc. But talking 2 or 3 hours, thinking that you've conveyed your message and that they really understand the project, and after a week you have to conclude that they had no idea what they needed to do. So it was communication, it was keeping their promises, and the quality of the work. Those were mostly the main 3 things that really posed a challenge for us.
Yeah. So we talked about those things. You decided to try this with us, essentially, right? How did you experience the process from them? I mean, we were, I believe, in quite direct communication. How did you experience basically the process of finding you that person?
Well, of course, like I said, we had no experience, and we hadn't even thought about working with a remote team. So I had no idea what to expect. But the process it felt naturally. You guys really, you created a profile. Well, I created a profile. What was I looking for? And you started searching for the right person. During that process, to be honest, we weren't that involved, but we didn't want to. So that was great. You handled all the interviews, and a few times, I believe you sent a resume our way. So we found this person, we found that person. So we could have a look and see it. Well, judge or at least get an idea of the people you were talking to. And during that process, you really kept us in the loop, and I think we talked daily back then.
I believe so.
Yeah. So you really kept us in the loop. We've done this, we've done that. We might have found someone, maybe talked to this one, and I believe we scheduled 1 or 2 call interviews with them.
Yes, I believe so.
And eventually, that resulted in one developer that we both thought was the answer.
Yes.
He wasn't. Yes. But that's not your fault. That's not our fault. You can't really, based on the little information that you have to make a decision. So, well, we landed on that first developer, and after a little while, we both concluded this is not the right match. And at that point, you guys just went back to work and started searching for the right developer. And well, he's been working with us for several months now.
Yeah, so I would like to highlight that as well, because, a lot of our, what I would then call competitors, it's very easy to say you can hire the best person, but even this quote unquote failure with this one developer, we both believe that he was able to do it.
Exactly.
I believe that one of our services is to not talk around the issues. We both decided, look, this is not going to work.
No.
For us, of course it matters. We like to have a one-hit wonder every time, but that's
would be great.
It's human.
That's not possible.
It's a human business working with humans, and it doesn't always fruition to that. So, how did you experience that? Us picking that up. What was your first thought when it didn't work, or how? Like where?
Of course, it was disappointing.
Yeah.
We were looking for help, so we were in a pinch. We really needed someone who could pick up all the projects that were running behind, and of course, that causes some stress. So
Yes.
it was a disappointment that after a few weeks, you have to conclude, this is not the answer. We need to start over. So, of course, it was a disappointment. But like you said, you can't hit it out of the park the first time, every time. That's not how it works. So, the first thing you did was you went back to work and you started searching for the right person. That didn't even take that long. I'm not sure. Maybe you were even able to pull into you gathered a lot. You talked to a lot of other people. I believe you were able to get back to some of them instead of needing to talk to all of those people again. So that went relatively quickly.
I believe the next match we found, actually, if I remember correctly, if my memory serves me well, we found him in 1 week and he could start in
Something
3 or
like
something.
that. Yeah. So we had a period of maybe 2 or 3 weeks that, well, we didn't have any help again, but yeah, the first guy wasn't that much help either. So like I said, that went relatively quickly, and he was a great. Sure, we had to work with him to let him get used to our processes, etc. But he was a great match. Yeah. So at that point, we really started to feel, okay, that project can be finished. We can finish that project, and it started to lighten the load a bit. Yes. So it was a disappointment that the first one didn't work out, but that's just the way it works.
Yeah, and to also highlight for us, it's also very important. Or we were very thankful that you did trust us and were able to work with us. I think that should also be highlighted. It is the real world we're working with, and you can't always. So we're very grateful for that, and obviously I'm very happy we could help you out in that way. So yeah, we were able to continue our relationship. We found a person that I believe fitted your culture well. I believe in the first meetings you were already making jokes and having a good time. What were some of your fears, in terms of working together with someone from Pakistan? In terms of communication, we of course highlighted that already, or you highlighted that already in your previous experiences and such. So could you talk me through, what were your fears and maybe what parts didn't immediately go well, and what did,
I get it.
Why did you have that trust in this developer to make it work?
Well, like you said, the first call we had with him, we had a relatively bad connection, which was unfortunate. So at that point, the fear of, okay, how is the communication going to work out, was still there. So but you can see he was enthusiastic. He was making a few jokes, or at least tried to, and it was a pleasant call. That alone already gave me some confidence that I thought, well, this might be the right person. You can easily learn someone a process or a way of working. You can't change a person's personality or character. So that call gave me some confidence. Okay, this might be the right guy. He seems like a good guy, happy guy, friendly guy. Okay, this might be a match. And sure, the first few weeks, I had my doubts. On several occasions, I thought, "Wow, is this the code he's gonna send me? Does he think this is finished?" But it was just he needed some time to understand what we were looking for, how do we work, and what we find important in our code. And that took a few weeks. And I started seeing it getting better, but mostly every time I told him, we want something different, we want something changed, he took that with him to the next project. As long as that works, he'll get better over time. So that gave me more and more confidence. Okay, this might be the guy. This might be the developer we're looking for. And communication-wise, well, that first call was just unfortunate. We've had several calls after that. Most of our communication is on Slack. So typing, that's always easier than actually talking, of course. But even if there's a urgent problem or something, I don't feel like typing an entire book to explain to him what I'm looking for. We hop on a quick call and well, 9 out of 10 times he understands immediately what we're looking for, and we joke around a little bit. And he, like I said, he's also a very friendly guy. No. So that just got better and better over time. And now, well, he just needs a few lines of text. This is what we need. This is where you do it, and this is what we're going to do. And it just works.
Yeah, and I think that's a very realistic picture. And that's also why I asked you the question, is that, no, and that's why we believe we integrate people directly into your team. But we also, it must become a team member. So there is this time where someone needs to learn. And our belief is that no matter if that's a Dutch person or someone from Pakistan, but we focus on that communication and that fit to you. Of course, the technical side should also be there somewhere, but the personality bankers are also very important. Yeah, so you've talked already a lot about your process. Then, what are some of the results you see in your company? Not so much, in terms of business growth, but basically in the teamwork, how you can now work more together, and also what it means for you in your daily work.
Well, for me, it's lightened the load a lot. I did most of the development work myself, with help of freelancers, etc. But that meant communicating a lot and then doing half of the work still myself because the quality wasn't there, or all sorts of other reasons. So for me, especially after those few weeks where you needed to settle in, I really started to feel like, okay, my load is lightening. I can do other things. I have time for other projects. We can finish things. Honestly, customers were more satisfied because, well, I didn't have to tell them every week, next week or next week or next week. So overall, things were just, well, it caused me less stress, so to speak. And knowing that I have someone to trust and that I can depend on, and if he... At the beginning, I had to tell him a few times, don't promise too much, because, well, he couldn't always deliver what he promised. So once we get a hang of that, and I was also able to determine a little bit from, okay, what can he do in a certain time frame, we really started to get into a flow of, okay, we know we can do that at that time. He does this, he does that. And it gave the business more structure, and it gave us the opportunity to handle a few bigger projects because, well, we had more hours to spend, so to say. So all over, it just helped our business grow to a next level. And, well, we might be needing a new developer again soon. So that's positive. So that's good. But it's getting to a point again where it's too busy. And now I know there is a solution. So we might need to find new help, and we need to do that in time before it gets back to the point where it was before we had this development.
Yeah. I mean, that's obviously great to hear. And in our service, we try to become better in terms, well, in the hiring process. Hopefully you'll see that, and if we get to find that second developer for you, but also on a day-to-day basis, what would you say some things that could be done better, or some things that you would like to highlight further?
Well, you've asked this question in the past, of course, and honestly, you handle almost everything without any. You don't need anything from me, and that's great. I don't want to handle it at all. Everything with the developer is handled by you. The only thing that sometimes I'd wish I had a little more insight in some things. So, how many vacation days does he still have? How many hours has he worked? So something like a little dashboard. You have plenty of developers, so someone can build that. That would be great, so that I can just log in and sure, I've sent you an email in the past, and you were able to send me an export, and I have the information that way as well. But having that real-time insight, just something where I can log in, I think that would be great.